Welcome back to the JDW Sports Talk Show, and this time we're here for Hot Take Tuesday. Episode 15 of Season 2 is officially here. We have 6 hot takes to go through today, and if you would like your hot take featured in the future, go to the About Me, go in the description, and join the Discord, and next week when I ask for the hot takes, you give me your hot take, and I will pick the best ones from the Discord servers. So, as you see, we already have our first one here up on the screen, and we've talked about Jonathan Taylor a lot over the past month and a half. Joshua Kissinger's hot take is Colts trade Jonathan Taylor for 2 seconds in a third round. Oh, wow, I butchered that spelling. I didn't even check. I should have checked it. Oh, well. So, you get the point. 2 seconds and a third round pick. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because I've talked about Jonathan Taylor a lot. But I think 2 seconds in a third round pick is a lot for Jonathan Taylor. I think it's a lot for what other teams are going to be willing to offer. You got to look at it and realize that Jonathan Taylor, he had one elite season. He was on his way to his second elite season. His rookie year was great, not elite. But he was on his way to his second elite season last year. Suffered turf toe, came back a couple weeks. Then he suffered a season-ending ankle injury, had the surgery, and during the offseason, Jim Irsay stated multiple times that he's healthy, he's ready to go. Can't wait for Jonathan Taylor to come back. Come training camp, he fails his physical. And reports came out that he injured his back while training in Arizona. Jim Irsay threatened to put Jonathan Taylor on the NFI list. The NFI list is, if you don't know what it is, the NFI list is when you could put, that team can put the player on that list. And when they're put on that list, the player won't be paid at all that year. And that contract year, so say this year, Jonathan Taylor, I don't remember how much he's owed. Let's just say he's owed over $1 million. That he won't get paid that $1 million this year. It would just carry on over to next year. And then the Colts could still franchise tag him after that. So it would be a lose-lose. And Jonathan Taylor kind of like gave in. Not really gave in, but it seemed like it got things moving a little bit. So I don't blame him. If you should really play out the last year of a contract. You have your signature on your signature, finish it. Doesn't want to do that, wants to get paid. And the way the NFL market is right now, the Colts don't want to pay Jonathan Taylor, top of the line, $16 million a year for a running back. Now, I said multiple times I would not mind it considering Anthony Richardson is on his rookie deal. Anthony Richardson being on his rookie deal, it gives you money to spend elsewhere and to help him develop so he can become the quarterback of the future. Obviously, it's not happened. Jonathan Taylor has requested to be traded, and 3-4 weeks later, the Colts officially grant him and his agent permission to seek a trade partner. Now, considering we just talked about him dealing with an ankle injury, we just talked about him dealing with a back issue, reportedly a back issue. Not unsure if that's true or not, but it would seem like it because he wouldn't have failed his physical for the ankle if Jim Irsay was saying, oh, he's fine, he's ready to go, he's all healthy, ready to go for the season. Unless he lied. Unless they were lying. Someone was lying in that situation, and that it was wild. It was crazy. So, will the Colts get 2 seconds in the third? I don't think so. I think they might get a second. They might get 1 second in the third. I think 2 seconds is a lot. I don't think any team is going to want to give up 2 seconds, although the Colts want a first-round pick. They want a first-round pick or compensation that equates to a first-round pick, that is equivalent to a first-round pick. Not going to happen because these teams not only have to give up the compensation, the draft picks, but they also have to pay him $16 million a year. So I'm going to go piping hot. That they don't get to. Now, because teams aren't really going to, are they really going to bid for a running back? No, like teams like the Dolphins have been thrown in there, which the Dolphins have been very aggressive this offseason. So if there's a team that does offer a trade like this, it's the Dolphins. But I think it's absolutely wild to think that the Colts will get 2 seconds in the third. It's just, we know how running backs are right now. You're not going to get much for them. considering they have to pay him. He wants 16 a year. Who's going to want to pay him 16 a year coming off of reportedly a back injury and a season-ending ankle surgery? And his rookie season's, he already played 3 years in the NFL. And in the NFL, as running back, 3 years is probably about half your career. Just goes to show. I'm going piping hot. Next hot take we have here is from BigBoyFlex. Giants get 9+ wins. So the Giants, good football team, had a lot of pickups this year, a lot of big moves. Re-signed Daniel Jones to a big contract. Got Saquon Barkley to come back and play a year on the franchise tag, sweeten it up a little bit. Traded for Darren Waller. Drafted some talent in Jalen Hyatt. They drafted some protection in JMS. It was a center. I can't remember his name. I think it's Jason. I don't remember his name. JSM? Maybe it's JSM. I don't exactly remember his name, but he was a good center. I believe it was out of Maryland. Let me look at the name, because now it's going to really bother me. Giants depth chart. It's Schmitz something. It is John Michael Schmitz. There we go. So JMS. I was correct. I think that's what I said at first. So JMS, I think he has the potential to be an incredible center in the league. I think he could be one of the better centers in the National Football League in a year or two, if not year one, towards the end of year one. Just think, there's not a lot of good centers in the league. They're not really easy to come by right now. There's not a lot of them. Supply is low. Demand is high. So they're also going to be paid more. So, yeah, there's a lot of weapons around Daniel Jones. I'd say Hodgins came out last year and seemed to look pretty good. So the Giants get 9+ wins. I think is very possible. Last year, they had 10? 9? They had 9 or 10 wins last year, and they got better this year. Now, last year, did they overperform a little bit? I think so. But they have a very good football team. They have a quarterback that has improved every single year. They have given him more weapons, more protection, more time to throw the ball. They bring in Saquon Barkley back. There's no reason why they can't have 9+ wins. They should have 9+ wins, and I think they will. Now, the only thing that I would say that can hold them back from this is their schedule. Their schedule is very tough. Very tough. They play the Cowboys twice. They play the Eagles twice. None of those games are cakewalks. They're not walking the parks. You have the Commanders. They're no rollover. Sam Howell is a decent quarterback. I think a lot of people are underrating him just because they're the Commanders, just because it's Sam Howell and he was a third-round pick. They don't think he can be the guy. I think he could. But the Giants getting 9+ wins. It's tough. Because they have a very good football team. And Brian Daboll has had this team for a whole nother offseason. The defensive line is very good. I'd say damn near elite. Edge rushers are great. Kayvon Thibodeau was phenomenal last year. Ojulari was good. I think it's Aziz they have. I have the I always forget if it's BJ or Aziz they have. It is Aziz. Very good. Cornerbacks, I think the secondary is a little more of a question than anything else in this team. I think it would probably raise the biggest questions. Deonte Banks fits this team perfectly. He's a man corner. He's going to do great with the Giants. Now, where this defense tends to fall apart is when you play some of the better quarterbacks in the league. We saw Wink Martindale's defense in Baltimore. Moved on from Baltimore. That defense wasn't going to get you far against the Patrick Mahomeses, Josh Allen's, Joe Burrow's. Those, the best quarterbacks in the league absolutely tear up man coverage. And that's what Wink does. He likes his exotic blitzes. He likes his blitzes. He likes his man coverage. He doesn't call his zone as often. I believe he did call the most man coverage and blitzes than any other team last year. Wink Martindale, his system's good. It's a good defensive system, but when it comes to playing some of the best talents in the league, some of the best receivers, it's very difficult to keep them hemmed in. It's very difficult to have good games against them consistently. Like, they don't match up well against the Cowboys because of that. Dak Prescott and those weapons that he has, and they have a very good offensive line as well. So it's going to limit that pass rush, which will give the receivers, and then same thing for the Eagles. You have a very good quarterback, lots of weapons. The Commanders' offensive line isn't as good. I think it's better than people think, but they have some weapons. I know Terry McLaurin just suffered, is just still with, I think it was a toe injury or a finger injury, one of the two. But he's injured, but, that defense is not great against the best talents. Although it was very good against Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins last year, although Jefferson was really the main target, was really the main guy that you have to worry about. Now you have to worry about Jordan Addison, an incredible route runner. Maybe he's smaller, but he's a good route runner. He's got some speed. There's a lot to like about what the Giants have here, but 9+ wins, like, the talent says yes. But the schedule is tough. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't normally like doing that, but Brian Daboll has another year under his belt. Daniel Jones has gotten better every single year he has played. And his weapons are even better. His offensive line is only getting better. You have Saquon Barkley coming back. I'm gonna go with, like, cold. I'm gonna say it's likely because of what I just said, of what I just went through. So the Giants have the talent, and they have the coach, they have the staff. The defense is a bit of a question because of the way it's played and how it fares versus some of the best teams, the best quarterbacks, receivers, really the best offenses in the league. The defensive line is incredible. So if you come up playing some teams with bad offensive lines and, not really good receivers, you're going to absolutely smoke them. And if their quarterback is mediocre, can't really run a lot, can't get out of the pocket, the Giants will smoke that offense. There's going to be weeks where that defense is allowing 10, 13 points, but then there's going to be other weeks where they're allowing 35, 31 points in the 30s. Late 20s. And you're playing very good systems. San Fran, Cowboys twice a year, Hurts twice a year. San Fran, I think they're playing San Fran this year. There's Geno Smith. He's very accurate. The Seahawks have a lot of weapons. JSN, DK, Tyler. I find it very difficult. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to go warm. I'm going to say it's a little unlikely because of I don't know, like, they're a good football team. This is where I can go back and forth. Like, I feel like this is one of the more, like, it's the easier yet more difficult teams to predict in a way because Daniel Jones has improved every single year, but can he ultimately take that next step? Can this offensive line take the next step? How will this defense do against some of those teams I just mentioned? San Fran, Philly, Dallas. There's so many different things that can go wrong, but can go right at the same time for the Giants. They're very good in the trenches. And that right there, and having a quarterback that can move, I'm gonna go cold. I think it's likely. I'm gonna have faith in them. I think they could get the wins against some of these tougher teams, because I think they are one of the better teams in the NFC. Their division, they have a tough division, so that can absolutely hurt them. But I think they have at least one win versus the Commanders. I think they could split with the Eagles and the Cowboys, but the way their defense matches up against them, and, I just don't think the matchup is very good for the Giants versus the Eagles. A little bit better versus the Cowboys, but not as good. We'll see. Though. We'll see. I can go back and forth. I could go on and on and on with this one all day long. Then we have tones. Ravens and Steelers finish above the Bengals in the AFC North. Ooh, okay. So you're not high on the Bengals. You think the Ravens and the Steelers going to take it. The Steelers, right away, I'm going to say it's a very good football team. Offensive line we'll see how the offensive line does this year. You have a good running back duo. Najee Harris can be the starter, but it seems like Jalen Warren is garnering some attention from training camp, preseason. He's been playing pretty well, so we might have a 2-back system in Pittsburgh. Receivers, let me see who the receivers are. I know they have Pickens, which has been absolutely incredible in camp everywhere. He's been incredible. So let's look at the Steelers depth chart and see what they have at receivers. So Kenny Pickett, I would like to see him take the next step up. I think he could. I like Pickett. I've always have liked Pickett. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. Deontay Johnson, completely forgot about him. He's very good. Calvin Austin, the third, he's very fast. Allen Robinson, Gunnar Olszewski, Miles Boykin. So, yeah, they actually do have some good weapons here and some decent depth. I do like Pat Freiermuth and Zach Gentry, Connor Hayward, Darnell Washington. I do like this tight end room as well. And then they made the addition of Isaac Samalu from the Philadelphia Eagles. He is a left guard. Let's see if Dan Moore can take the next step up. I thought he was better last year than I thought he would look. Broderick Jones. Actually, no. Broderick Jones is listed as a backup behind Dan Moore, but he will probably start. He has a lot of learning to do. He's very raw, so maybe they're not starting him right away. But the tacklers need that time. They need that experience. But honestly, you look at the defense as well. Good defensive line. Keanu Benton, Cameron Hayward, T.J. Watt. Oh, they got Cole Holcomb, too. He's a good linebacker. Alex Highsmith, Levi Wallace. I think Levi Wallace is one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the entire NFL. He is a very good cornerback. Now, is he ever great, incredible? No, but I think he's a good cornerback. Devontae Casey, Minka, Joey Porter. We'll see how he continues to develop. He's been getting picked on by Kenny Pickett and George Pickens. But that's good. That's good for him learning. Patrick Peterson, Keanu Neal. They have a really nice pieces. They have a lot of good pieces on this team. And arguably, I would say they may have a better overall roster than the Bengals. But Joe Burrow, the offense is much better. The playmakers are much better. You know what you're getting from the quarterback. You know what you're getting from the playmakers. And kind of the same, it's kind of half that with the Ravens. You know what you're getting from Lamar, but is he going to stay healthy? What are you going to get from your weapons? How is OBJ going to do? And then there's just, I don't know. I can't say both will. I can maybe see one. I can see the Steelers being very good. They have one of the best coaches of all time. I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's great. He finds a way, no matter who is on that team, no matter what the talent is, finds a way to get that team to 500 or better. They're always winners. They always win. They always do the little things right. They're always very technically sound. Always have a good defense. I can absolutely see that. You know what? More I'm talking about it, I'm kind of liking the Steelers more and more to win the AFC North. We have to see how Kenny Pickett, if he could take the next step up, though. We have to see how the offensive line does and how these weapons ultimately come together. Because sometimes it takes some time to see how the offensive line is. So maybe not the Steelers, because maybe the offense isn't there yet. It can be soon, though. It can be. The Ravens, offensive line isn't as good as it was a couple years ago. It's still pretty good. Losing Orlando Brown Jr., Marshall Yonder retired a couple years ago. You've been losing pieces here and there. Running backs, J.K. Dobbins. We might as well just pull up the Ravens depth chart. Look at it. Ravens depth chart. All right, so the Baltimore Ravens depth chart. We have, of course, Lamar Jackson. He gets stay healthy. They will be very good. Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. I completely forgot about those two. Devin Duvernay, Nelson Aguilar, Laquan Treadwell, Tylan Wallace, James Poor. So, yeah, they really do have some good receivers in there. And we'll see about Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers can be very good. We'll see. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justin Hill, Melvin Gordon. That's a very good running back room. We do have Ronnie Staley, one of the best left tackles in the league, if not the best. Kevin Zeitler is a great right guard. Tyler Linderbaum is a good center. I don't know too much about Morgan Moses, and I can't even pronounce the left guard's name. Malasala. Almoave. I can't. That's quite the mouthful. But defense, Michael Pierce. I like Michael Pierce. He's a good nose tackle. Odafe Owe showed some promise last year. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. Haven't been a huge fan of Patrick Queen. He hasn't been great. Tyus Bowser. They have Rocky Sin, Kyle Hamilton. Don't forget they have Marlon Humphrey. Marcus Williams. So they have some really good pieces on that defense and the offense. Now the Bengals, they're not as complete. Their offensive line is better than what it was a couple years ago. It's just when you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow, that elevates the entire football team. You know, I think Jamar Chase is one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL when healthy. I think he's as dominant as Justin Jefferson when healthy. I think he absolutely can be, if not more. Might sound wild, and the numbers haven't shown that at all. But Jamar Chase can be as dominant. He absolutely can be. Chase was hurt too. But you have T. Higgins, Charlie Jones, Tyler Boyd, one of the most underrated receivers in the league, as I looking at him here and I just didn't say his name. Irv Smith Jr., the good tight end. Drew Sample. And then on the offensive line, you have Orlando Brown Jr., Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Al Capa, Jonah Williams. So there's some holes in the offensive line. But with the receivers you have and the quarterback you have, you get the ball out quick. Joe Burrow is going to make everyone better. He's an incredible quarterback. And then I think I was talking about Joe Mixon. He's good. Joe Mixon's good. Travion Williams. Chase Brown. I really do like Joe Mixon, though. I think people underestimate Joe Mixon. And their defense has some nice pieces, but they did lose. They did draft Dax Hill. They have Nick Scott at strong safety. Corners, they have Chidobe Awuzie. I really like Chidobe. He was one of the best corners last year. Before he got hurt, he was actually playing really well. He was one of the better coverage corners. He's absolutely phenomenal. He was playing. Cam Taylor-Britt, that name sounds familiar. They have Mike Hilton. So they have some corners that can be good. They got Jordan Battle too. That's right. So I really like Daxton Hill. Last year, I thought he looked phenomenal. We'll see how Jordan Battle plays. So the safeties are young. They have a little bit of an experience. Nothing like Jesse Bates or Von Bell. Those two were experienced, and those two were some of the greatest at what they did at their positions. So we'll see how they fill in and if their presence is missed, because Jesse Bates is incredible. I love Jesse Bates. Then the defensive line, Trey Hendrickson has been phenomenal. B.J. Hill is a good interior guy. DJ Reader, Sam Hubbard. They're good against the run game. Miles Murphy. And then for linebackers, you have Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson. So can the Ravens or the Steelers finish above the Bengals? I think it's possible for one. But the Bengals just know how to win. And I'm not saying the Steelers, the Ravens, Mike Tomlin, and Harbaugh don't. The Bengals just have that edge with Joe Burrow. The second best quarterback in the league. 1 Mahomes. 2 Burrow. Burrow gives them that edge. And their weapons in Jamar Chase, Boyd, Higgins, or Smith. The offensive line is better. There's still holes. But they could get the ball out so quick. They could just throw it up to Chase, throw it to an incredible route runner who's going to get open, Tyler Boyd, throw it up to Higgins, or Chase is going to burn someone. There's so many different opportunities for players to get open, and they all complement each other very well. The decent run game. I think the Bengals are finished first. But I'm gonna go piping hot for both to finish ahead. I'm gonna go hot, which is still a bit unlikely, very unlikely, for one of them to finish ahead. The Bengals just have that edge with Joe Burrow, man. And they have a good secondary. They could stop the run. I think the Bengals will finish first in the AFC North. I don't think that's going to change. All right, then we have head of the table 23. Titans will have a bad season if Tannehill goes down. Let's say 5+ wins. Okay. So, even with Tannehill, I think the Titans have the ability to win 7 to 9 games, 6 to 9 games. Now, if Tannehill goes down, you have Malik Willis playing. Malik Willis looked okay in preseason so far. You could tell he has a hard time, being accurate, putting the ball within the receiver's frame in front of him. Receivers always kind of have to reach up or reach behind them for it. He has a phenomenal running ability in Malik Willis, but I think Ryan Tannehill is very underappreciated. I know he does struggle sometimes, and he's not incredible. He's not great, but he's much better than the other two they have right now. Ever since I drafted Will Levis, I'm like, yeah, Tannehill's going to start right away. It's not going to be Levis, or it's not going to be Malik Willis. It's going to be neither. It's going to be Tannehill, and Malik Willis and Levis just aren't ready. Neither are ready. And I was a bit high on Will Levis. It's looking like I was wrong pretty badly. It's not looking good in training camp. Still learning to watch and film. I'm still learning, but I think it's a good learning experience, to kind of not fall in love with the arm, to not fall in love with some traits are much more important than others, like being accurate and being consistent. Just kind of, I think that's a learning experience. That's definitely a learning experience for me, because it also seemed like he's not a great leader. Yeah, I kind of got caught up that he's running enough offense. Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest supporting cast, but at the end of the day, he didn't really win. Some quarterbacks just find a way to win, and it seems like he doesn't have great leadership abilities, and his accuracy isn't consistent. Good learning experience. It's still early. Maybe he could turn out good, but we'll see. But if Tannehill goes down, I think 5 to 7 wins is still fair. No, maybe not, because then I'm kind of like going, no, because Tannehill is decent. You go on to Malik Willis, Will Levis. I'm going to say, let's say Tannehill goes before the season. That's what we're saying. That's what we're going off of. 3 to 6 wins. 6 wins max. You have a great running game. You have some good weapons. We'll see how Hopkins pans out. Stay healthy. He's older. We all know how older receivers have gone down in Tennessee. They've been the retirement home for them, kind of like how the Colts have been the retirement home for QBs. If Tannehill goes down, listen, they have a good football team, but Malik Willis and Will Levis are so inexperienced and just have so much of a long way to go. They're going to struggle badly. And I think the Titans defense would be enough to win them would be enough to win them a few games alone. Their defense is one of the best in the league. It's an incredible defense. Great defensive line, great safeties, good cornerbacks, good linebackers. I love this Titans defense. Love it. It's great. But there's only so much the defense could do for you. And being a Colts fan, I've learned that the hard way. There's a few years there where we had a good defense, getting a ton of turnovers. You just couldn't punch it in. Just couldn't take advantage of them. Now, the Titans have a much better situation around their quarterback than the Colts have had for a while, considering, weapons. Maybe not the offense line-wise, but they also have, maybe not running backs. But if Tannehill goes down for the season, I think 4 or 5 wins is it. It's the ceiling. And the floor is probably 2-3 wins. I mean, but the defense is so good and they can run so well. So it's like, am I really underestimating the ability of the run game? I mean, the offensive line isn't great. The starting offensive line is not great. They have a ways to go as well. It's not good. if Tannehill plays, 6 to 9 wins. If it's Levis or Willis, probably 3 to 6 or 3 to 5. But 5 wins, Titans will have a bad season if Tannehill goes down. But then you go and say 5. I think 5 wins we're going to go warm. It's unlikely if you have Malik Willis or Will Levis playing all year long. Or you go back and forth. I don't know. Next one we got here is from SilverSabs. First Eagles and 5th seed Cowboys meet in the NFC Final and score a combined 70 points. 38-22 Eagles win. So, as you guys know, whenever I see a score prediction, I'm going piping hot. But I'm going to pretend that's not there. Because whenever I see a score prediction, I just go piping hot. I'm just going to go with the combined 70 points. So, the Eagles being the 1st and the 5th seed, we got to go through that first. Eagles can absolutely be the 1st seed. Great football team, phenomenal football team. It's either they're going to be the 1st or the 5th. Because the Cowboys have a great football team as well. And the Eagles have a tough schedule. We're going to see how they rebound coming back from the Super Bowl. I really like the mindset Nick Sirianni and this team has been trying to keep with them, that they can't just focus on getting back to the playoffs. They can't just focus on getting back to the big game. They have to focus on 1 week at a time again. They have to focus on the small things, because that's ultimately how you get there. If you focus on the Super Bowl week 1, you're not going to make the playoffs. So they got to focus 1 week at a time, do the small things right, and get it done. They have the talent to do so. They have a great coach. Now there's going to be adjustment period. The new defense coordinator, new offensive coordinator, especially a defensive coordinator. I think Jonathan Gannon was really shamed on way too much. I think people were really crapping on him way too much. Jonathan Gannon really blaming him on the Super Bowl loss. I mean, the players have to go out and play too. Let's be honest. The coach can't go out there and play for them. Now, the issue with losing Gannon is a lot of those Eagles players were scheme dependent. Chauncey Gardner was. I know he's not there now. Chauncey Gardner was very scheme dependent. James Bradbury. Darius Slay. Darius Slay is a little different, but James Bradbury is scheme dependent. Hassan Reddick. When you have all those players that are kind of like scheme specific, yet you got all those players, you had all those players playing at the absolute highest level that you could have. Not many defensive coordinators, not many coaches can do that. With so many players that are that are heavily scheme based, they need a certain scheme. They'll play really well, and you get all of them to play really well together. That's impressive. Different kind of safeties. It's impressive. He's gone. There's going to be an adjustment period in the defense. I think James Bradbury, they're not getting any younger. Those cornerbacks aren't getting any younger. The top two, Slay and Bradbury, aren't getting any younger. Only getting older. So, I think a lot of people are looking at them like, yeah, they're not going to take a step back. They're going to be absolutely fine. And the defensive line that they have helps them have a good year like they did last year. But are they going to have as wild as years they did last year? We'll see. Very difficult to string together, years and years of great play. Especially as a cornerback. I think it's especially difficult. But the middle of the defense is going to struggle. That's where the downfall is going to be. I think they might struggle against the passing game. Now, the running game and defensive line is going to be incredible. But teams like the Bengals, teams that have decent offensive lines, can hold up that pass rush a little bit. I think they're going to struggle against those teams. And they have a competent quarterback with some weapons that can get open, that can get some separation. They're going to struggle against those teams. Big time. That's why I think the Dallas Cowboys will be the winner of this division. I know. I've been really hyping up these Cowboys. They're a good football team. Very good football team. It's just they can never get over their hump. I think they always have these big time playmakers in there, and they get full of themselves, and they kind of end up beating themselves. They don't get. I mean, it's not that they don't get along. I think Mike McCarthy is the one that's holding them back. McCarthy, 15 years ago, one of the better coaches in the National Football League with the Packers. Times have kind of just drove past him, gone past him. I think his offense is a bit predictable. I think it was Kellen Moore who was our offense coordinator, is pretty predictable. Run, pass. Run, pass. Run, pass. Run, pass. Not very difficult to know what they're going to do when that's all they did. It's just this Cowboys team, year in and year out, have so much talent. They just can't get over the hump in the playoffs. This year, I think they will. I know you hear that from Cowboys fans every year. I know you hear it every year. But I think they're going to take it next year. I think they're going to take it this year. I could see them winning the NFC. I could see it. I could see them finally breaking through. It'd be awesome. It'd be pretty cool. Just because I haven't done it in such a long time. It'd be weird to... I mean, no. Now I'm really not starting to sound good. I'm really starting to sound like a Cowboys fan. This is not good. Nah, I promise. I'm never leaving my Colts, man. Never. But I just think they have a good football team. They have a good offensive line, good defense. I love Trayvon Diggs. I think he's a top 5 cornerback. He's a top 5 cornerback in the National Football League. He is. Now, he did give up a lot of yards his first year. Ton of yards. A lot of interceptions. But he got better with coverage last year. He got better with it. You know, he gets you a lot of interceptions. I'm one of those few people. I love Trayvon Diggs. I think Trayvon Diggs is a phenomenal corner. He's just aggressive. He's like the Brett Favre cornerback. He's going to take his shots, and he's going to allow a lot of yards. And the Cowboys, don't forget, they play a lot of man coverage. They're one of the teams that play the most man coverage looks. They play a ton. And when you play a lot of man coverage, you're going to give up yards. You're going to. Trayvon Diggs is a great cornerback. So, I kind of got off topic. I kind of just went off talking about two teams, which is kind of not off topic. So, they meet in the NFC Final. Can a 1 and a 5 meet in the final, though? No, I don't know if they could. I don't think they could. No, a 1 and a 5 can't meet in the conference final, I don't think. Can they? Can a 1 seed and 5 seed meet in the NFL Conference Championship? Let's see. Only one number 5 seeds. No. Okay, so let me write it down on paper, kind of. And look, the playoffs can be kind of complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And then we have the 7th team that gets the bye. So 1 would play 6. 2 would play 5. 3 would play 4. 1 and 5 can make it, can't they? I'm probably just overthinking this like a madman. So for 5 to play 1 in the championship, let's see. 5 beats 2. Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna say they could. I'm not gonna go through all that. They probably could. I'm just being a ding dong. It's like horrible ding dong. Let's just not pretend this is happening. But I get his point. If they meet in the conference final, will they have a combined total of 70 points and the Eagles win? I think the Cowboys win this. I think the Eagles might win this. Because running the football, I don't know. It's such a tough prediction in my opinion. So let's just go with both of them making the conference final. I'm gonna go hot. I think it's unlikely. Because there's so much talent in the NFC. Well, it's very top heavy. You have the Niners. I don't see 2 teams from the NFC East making it. It's going to be the Niners and 1 team from the East. That's what I think. Score a total of 70 points. I can see it. I can see his total. So that part, I'd go cold. I think it's likely, honestly. If both teams have a lot of firepower, both teams can struggle on defense in certain areas at certain times. I can see that. But all in all, the Eagles beating the Cowboys. I'm kind of like separating this one up. There's so many different ways you could talk about this one. But the Eagles beating the Cowboys. I mean, I'm going to go cold because is there like an option to go between cold and warm? Because, I mean, I'm just sitting here like trying to think. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly can't give you an answer to this one. But let's go through it. So, Eagles can run the ball better. Offensive line is better. The Eagles might have better weapons. I think they have better weapons. Cowboys, I'm going to go, I think the Eagles can win this. I'm going to go for the Eagles winning. I'm going to go cold. I think it's likely, but there's also that possibility there where the Cowboys do. I know, kind of like weird. Not a weird one. I'm just like thinking too much, LCCJS 27. The Colts will fire Jim Irsay next offseason. Our new next is next. My typing was horrible this time, but the Colts will fire Jim Irsay next season. Can't happen. It can't happen. I mean, the only way for an owner to be removed from a team is for the NFL to come together and 3/4 of the NFL owners to vote him out, which I don't think is going to happen. Irsay's a good owner. He's a great owner. I know a lot of people don't like Irsay because of his mouth. It doesn't bother me. I'd rather an owner being involved, being honest, just being upfront and whatever. I'm good with it. It doesn't bother me. I'm good with Irsay being loud. I don't have a problem with it, but it's piping because, I mean, it's not even piping because it can't happen. It can't. The Colts themselves cannot fire Jim Irsay. The Jim Irsay could fire everyone else in the Colts. So, that's it for Hot Take Tuesday. Episode 15 of Season 2. I know we really had a long one here again today. Really kind of stalled in the Eagles and Cowboys one. Really got into some of these ones, and, it was a good episode. I had fun going through this one. Almost 45 minutes long, so I want to get off here. I want to get it processing and ready to go for tonight at quarter after. No, we're going to go, we'll go quarter after 9 because, 10 o'clock, I don't want it going past 10. I know some people got school, people got work. No one wants to be up till 10:30 at night watching the premieres. So that's all I got from you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoy Colts content, NFL content, make sure you like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. And last but not least, let's give our member our shout outs. Marshman and Red the Rat, I appreciate you guys for being members, further supporting the show. And, the more you support the show, the more you get back. And I appreciate it, but never feel like you have to. Never feel like you have to become a member to be a part of the community. But if you do become a member, you're giving a little extra to me, so you're going to get a little extra back. But that's officially it for me. This is a JDW Sports Talk Show. This is the end of Hot Take Tuesday. Until next Tuesday night.